Hello everyone and welcome back to another Sunday prep day. I'm super excited to get back on track after being away last weekend. I'm glad to be back to doing my meal planning and prepping for the week. Today I'm going to be doing dinners, lunches, breakfast, and also our snacks for the week. We're having a cookout tomorrow, so there's one last meal that I'll be prepping. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Christy and I am planning us healthy. Before we dig into the prep, I just want to share something real quick. For those of you who watched my meal plan and grocery haul for this week, you saw that I had a little bit of a dilemma with the Walmart grocery pickup. Our Walmart just started doing the grocery pickup this week, so this was my first time using them. I am definitely loving it. I am definitely going to use them in the future, but I was not real happy with some of the produce. I had some cauliflower, a bag of cauliflower florets that I purchased on the 24th, and they are best if used by the 26th, which is today. So there was no way I was going to use those up by today. So I was a little bit concerned with that. So I thought, I'm not going to do the produce anymore at Walmart. I'm just going to stick to Aldi, which is where I was getting my produce before. And I was not even thinking, I'm probably 5 minutes away from the largest flea market in Central Florida. And I got thinking, which I knew that, but we don't go there a whole lot. We like to save our flea market shopping for when we go to Daytona Beach. So we don't go there a whole lot. But then I remembered that they have a huge produce market there. And I wasn't even thinking. So we headed over there. I'm going to share with you a little clip of this produce place at the flea market. So from now on, I am going to be doing my produce shopping here. This is our local flea market. It is huge. And they have so much produce. So I'm definitely going to be going there from now on. So let's dig into the meal prep. All right, everyone, so we're going to dig right in. If you are new to my channel and are just seeing my food prep for the first time, basically what I do is just get everything ready. I do breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for the week. For my dinners, I am only just measuring everything out and putting them in bags. I have my bags marked with the name of the dinner and the points that there are, and I put 2 servings in each bag, so one for my husband and one for myself. And again, this is just so that I'm cutting down on waste, and it doesn't allow us to overeat this way because we just have the one portion. I'm going to start out with breakfast this morning. Usually for breakfast we've been doing overnight oats and some type of maybe breakfast burrito or something like that. This week I'm kind of getting tired of the oats. I have to change things up every once in a while. So this week I'm just going to do breakfast bowls, and it's basically just going to be using canned white potatoes, eggs, and bacon. And I'm actually going to cook the bacon in my air fryer this time. I'm kind of curious how that's going to work out. It might save me some cleanup on my stove. So for my breakfast, I'm going to do the breakfast bowls for 3 mornings, and then one morning I'm going to be doing my cereal, which will be Friday morning. I like the Fiber One original cereal. This is 2 points for 1/2 a cup, and then I use a 1/2 cup of unsweetened almond milk, the vanilla flavor, and I put a 1/2 cup in there, which a 1/2 cup of this is 0 points. Anything over a 1/2 cup becomes 1 point. And then I just measure out 1 serving of the cereal into a little baggie. And then my milk I measure out into little containers, and then I just take it to work with me. Alright, so there is one breakfast, and then I'll put my breakfast bowls together. For the breakfast bowls, I'm going to be making 6 total. 3 for me, 3 for my husband. I am using 12 eggs, 12 slices of bacon, and 2 cans of potatoes for the 6. And then what I'll do is I'll just mix it all together, and I'll weigh it after and put it in the bowls. And each breakfast bowl is going to be 4 points each. All right, and then for the potatoes, I am going to use, these are actually whole potatoes, so I'm just going to cut them into little pieces. You can buy them already diced, or you can get them sliced. I get these at Aldi's, and I don't ever remember seeing sliced. They might have them, I'm just not seeing them. But this is all I have, so I'm just going to cut them up. And I'm actually going to get my pan ready, because then I'll just put them in there. So I'm just going to spray my pan with olive oil spray. And I use the Misto. I bought this off Amazon. And you just put your own oil in it and spray it. They say it's supposed to be better than the commercial kind. So I'm just going to cut these up into little pieces. Alright, so then I am just going to add some salt and pepper. I think I've shown this before. This is something I picked up at Aldi one time. It has different garlic flavorings in it. It's really good. I'm going to put some garlic and herb, just because we really like garlic. Alright, and then I'm going to get that going. I have my potatoes cooking in the background. And I'm not going to do the eggs yet because I want to get my bacon going. And I have preheated my air fryer. I'm doing it at 400 since it's bacon. And I preheated my air fryer, and I've already sprayed it with olive oil spray. And now I'm just going to add the bacon in there. I'm thinking they're probably going to take maybe about 10 minutes. But I'm going to check on them after about 5. And there's actually 14 pieces in here, so I'm going to go ahead and cook them all. And we will just use the other 2 pieces for something. So I'm going to put these in the air fryer for probably about 10 minutes. And I'm going to check on them after about 5. Alright, then I am going to go ahead and get my eggs going. And I think everybody knows how to make scrambled eggs, so I'm going to spare you having to watch me make my scrambled eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the cantaloupe up. So it's been about 5 minutes, and I checked on my bacon, and it's coming along pretty good. I actually just took a pair of tongs and flipped it over, and I'm going to just put them back in. You guys, that bacon turned out amazing in the air fryer. And the only mess I have is right in here. So I was kind of leery about this, but it turned out pretty good. That is great. So I have my eggs and my potatoes in here. I'm going to let the grease soak off of the bacon, and then I will cut that up and mix that in with there, and then we'll weigh it out and see what we're going to put in each container. Alright, so I have to remember I put 2 extra pieces of bacon in there, so I'm going to remove those. So I should have 8 pieces, and I'm going to just cut the rest of it up. Alright, so we're going to weigh it. I am going to go ahead and get these into the bowls. I actually was going to use these containers. I actually started putting it in, and I was going to go ahead and put the breakfast bowl and the fruit in the other side. But then my husband reminded me that the last time we did that, the eggs kind of took on the flavor of the fruit. So I went ahead and just put our fruit into fruit bowls, and then that way we'll have those for the week. And I'll just put the breakfast bowls in other containers. So I measured this out, And for this whole amount, it ended up being 1,000 grams. It was actually 1,020, but so I just took a couple potatoes out, and so that it would just be 1,000. I'm actually going to use my little salad tongs to dish it out. Okay, so since I have breakfast done, I'm gonna just go ahead, because usually I do breakfast and snacks together. So I have my fruit bowls for snacks. The other thing I'm gonna do for my snacks is just, like I do every week, is measure out 1 serving of the pretzel crisps, and I throw a Laughing Cow cheese in it, and that way it is, I know that each bag is a 4-point snack. So I just put 28 grams of the pretzel crisps into a bag, and I just throw a cheese wedge in there, seal it up, and then I just keep these in the fridge all week. It doesn't do anything to the pretzels by keeping them in the fridge. So I usually do about 4 of these. I do about 4 of them each week, and I don't always eat them all. And then the other snacks that we'll have, of course, is our fruit, and we also have our 2-point pudding cups and our 2-point light and fit Greek yogurt that we use for snacks. So I'll finish these up, and then we'll start on lunch. We are just going to have chicken, rice, and broccoli bowls. Actually, chicken, rice, and vegetable bowls. And all I'm going to do is the rice and the vegetables, because we are having a cookout tomorrow, and my husband is going to be making chicken on the grill. So I have asked him to just add our grilled chicken to it, and then I'll just put it in the bowls tomorrow. So that will save me a little bit of prep from having to cook the chicken. So all I'm going to do is the vegetables and the rice. So if you watch me anytime, you know that I like roasted vegetables. I love my broccoli roasted in the oven. When I do prep, sometimes I don't like to do it that way, because sometimes during the week it kind of overcooks the vegetables and they kind of become soggy. So I'm going to go ahead and steam them this week, and I'm going to use my electric steamer. So I have broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, and I'm going to add some onions and peppers to it as well. I'm just going to dump the vegetables in there. Yeah, they're not going to fit in one. And I'm actually going to put some garlic in there too. I thought I had some fresh garlic, but I'm all out. So I'm just going to use some minced garlic, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over there. We love garlic on almost everything. Normally these take maybe about 15 minutes to cook. I'm probably just going to cook them for about 10 to 12 minutes today, because that way when we reheat them at work, it'll cook them more, and then that way they won't be overcooked. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that for about 12 minutes and just let that steam. And in the meantime, I'm going to get my rice cooking. And I am actually going to use some chicken broth instead of water. I think I'm going to do half and half. Just because it'll give it just a little bit more flavor. I'm gonna just let that boil, and then I'll put the rice. Everybody knows how to make minute rice. And then I'll get my vegetables, and then I'm just gonna put those into dishes, and we'll be done with the lunches. So while that's cooking, I'm gonna move on to our dinners. Okay, so I am on to the dinners, and I'm actually going to be making, one of the things I'm going to be making is a Texas style casserole that's from the WW app. And that one we're supposed to have Tuesday. Tomorrow is Monday, it's Memorial Day. We are having a bunch of family over, and we're having a cookout. So we're going to have chicken tomorrow, and then I was going to do that casserole Tuesday. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cook it tonight, and we will have it for tonight because it's a big casserole, 13 by 9. So it's going to last for more than one night. So we'll have it tonight, and then we'll have it again Tuesday night. So that will already be ready. So what I'm going to do now is just put everything into our bags. I'm actually not having to do as many. And the reason being is I had air fryer fish and fries set for one Friday night. I can't remember. I think it was this past one. And so we didn't end up having it. So I've mentioned before that I usually get fish from Aldi, and I just use the frozen kind. I've done it with cod, all different kinds of it. This week I'm going to do flounder. So if we don't end up having Friday night's fish fry, it's really not a big deal because the fish is frozen, and the other things that I have already prepped can be saved. So this is just breadcrumbs and Parmesan, and this is flour and pepper. Then I just ended up using another potato. So I'm gonna just put all this stuff back in the bag. So for this recipe, this is the air fryer fish and fries, and this comes out to 12 smart points. And if I use tartar sauce, then it is an additional 3 smart points. And I do have tartar sauce that I had in my fridge that I had already made from before. So I'm gonna just stick that in there. The recipe that I'm gonna link is actually from tasteofhome.com, and they use cornflakes in there for their breading, and I don't use that. So it's 2/3 cup of crushed cornflakes. So I actually use 2/3 cups of breadcrumbs. And I always mix my breadcrumbs. I usually use half panko and half regular breadcrumbs. So I have 1/3 cup of each in here. I also have 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and then some salt and pepper, and that is it. If you don't like the little bit of heat, you can leave the cayenne pepper out. So that is that. And then for the flour mixture is just 1/3 of a cup of flour and 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. So I'm going to put those in there. And then I usually use anywhere between 3/4 of a pound and 1 pound for potatoes. And we'll put that in there. And then 1 egg. So again, you don't have to prep everything this way. This is just the way that I've done things. That way I just pull it out and can go ahead and cook it. So obviously the fish I'll leave in the freezer. And then I just put this in the fridge. So that's 1 dinner. All right, so the next one I'm making is the pork tenderloin with carrots and potatoes, and I'm just crushing up. I did have still some garlic left. I thought I was all out, but I forgot I needed it for this recipe. So because this recipe calls for actually grated garlic, so I'm just going to grate that real quick. And this just calls for 1 clove of garlic. I'm actually using 4 small ones. All right, and we're going to just add those to a little container. All right, and then we're going to get some green onion and cut that up. All right, and then we're just going to put half of that into the container, and the other half I'm going to put in a little snack bag because that's going to be for the garnish. We are then going to put 1 tablespoon of oil in there and 1 tablespoon of stone ground Dijon mustard. And then we're just going to mix that up. And that's going to actually be the topping for the pork. So this is all going to get roasted together on 1 pan, the pork with the topping, and then the carrots and the potatoes. I think I actually have a video out there, a cook with me for this recipe. Alright, so then we're going to just put the top on that, and that's going to go in our bag. So I'm going to use about 10 ounces of carrots. And again, I'm not washing these right now. I'm just prepping them into the bag, weighing them out, and then I will wash them the night that I cook them. And I actually don't peel these carrots when I roast them. I just take a vegetable brush and really wash them off real good. You really, since carrots are 0 points, you really don't have to weigh these. That's about 10 ounces. We're going to go ahead and put those into our bag. And I'm actually going to use red potatoes this time. I usually use russet when I make this. But I'm going to go ahead and use red potatoes. And I'm going to get anywhere between 3/4 of a pound and 1 pound. Alright, so that's good. That's about 15 ounces. So we're going to put those in the bag. And then we're going to put our green onion in the bag and our topping. And then we are going, I'm actually using the Smithfield pork tenderloin, and this is actually more than I need. So I'm going to freeze some of it for another night. I'm just going to cut it in half and freeze the other half. Alright, so I have weighed out the pork and cut it in half, and it ended up being 10 ounces for each dinner. So we're each going to get a 5-ounce portion, which is what we usually use. So I've got this one labeled that it's 10 ounces pork tenderloin, and I'm going to put that in my freezer. And then this one I'm just going to put into a baggie and put it in our bag. And then I'm going to use, this is turkey gravy that I got at Aldi, and this comes out to 1 point for 1/4 of a cup. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this, which is a 1/2 cup, which is about what I have left in this one. And then we'll each get 1/4 of a cup. So we'll put that in the bag. And there is our pork tenderloin. And we will just pull the bag out and cook it the night that I'm going to make it. So our lunches are cooked. I actually went ahead and cooked some onions and peppers. I'm just going to put the vegetables in one side of these, and then I'll put the rice and the chicken on the other. And again, my husband's going to be making the chicken on the grill for these tomorrow. So now I'm just going to take this and put, it's 360, so I'm going to put 90 grams in each one. There are our lunches. There's 2, and then there's 2. And then I will just, when my husband makes the chicken, we'll just put the chicken on top of the rice, and those will be good. And in the meantime, since I made extra rice, I have rice that I'm just going to put in the fridge for tomorrow. I think I'm probably going to cook some cream of mushroom soup. My son loves white rice with cream of mushroom soup, and he's going to be here tomorrow with the baby. So I will just make that for him. So I'm going to get these put away, and then I will finish our last 2 dinners. I forgot to mention, so with the vegetables, the rice, and the chicken, these whole big lunches are only going to be 3 smart points. We don't have to count the vegetables because I just steamed them and I don't have any oil or anything on them. I have a bottle of spray butter at work, so when I eat my lunch, I'll just spray them with that. For my husband's, I will spray them with spray butter before he leaves for work in the morning. And then, so all we're counting is the 1/2 cup of rice, which is 3 smart points. Texas style casserole. I've never made this before. I found this on the WW site. So, again, this is the one. I'm going to go ahead and cook this one because we're going to have it for dinner tonight. And then I'll have leftovers for Tuesday night. So for this recipe, it doesn't specify the size, so I'm just going to use a 13 by 9. But we're just going to spray our pan with olive oil spray. And then for this one, you're going to need 1 cup of corn. I'm actually going to use the whole can. This one has, it's 1/2 cup servings. It has 3.5 servings. So because corn is 0 points, I'm going to go ahead and add all of it. It just gives it a little more bulk. Then you're going to need 1 cup of the frozen, it calls for the frozen onions and peppers. I'm not sure why, because then it tells you to thaw them out. So I don't know if maybe because of the consistency so that they're not hard, that might be why. And then the recipe calls for 1 cup of fat-free skim milk. I am going to use 1% milk. I did put it in the recipe builder and it does not make a difference in points. It's still going to be 5 points per serving. It calls for 2 cups of the shredded hash browns. These hash browns are actually only 2 points for 1 cup. And then it calls for 8 ounces of some type of turkey sausage. I'm actually going to use turkey kielbasa in this recipe. And then salt and pepper, 2 eggs, and 3/4 of a cup of reduced fat cheese. The recipe of course calls for Weight Watchers brand reduced fat. I think it was reduced fat Mexican. And I am using the Velveeta shreds. It does not change the points. I put it in there and it's the same points. So it's going to be 3/4 of a cup of that. So in the middle of my prep, I am doing a cook with me. So this seems like a real easy recipe actually. To 350 degrees, you're going to spray your casserole dish with olive oil spray. Place the potatoes and the vegetables in the bottom of the casserole dish. So we want 2 cups of hash browns. Alright, so then it says to lay the potatoes down on the bottom of the dish and then put our vegetables over top. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why they say to use frozen, because these are really, wow, that's a really big onion. I'm going to cut that one up. I think this is going to be really good. Next thing we got to do is our sausage. Let me get that cut up quick. We want 8 ounces of the sausage. This is actually 13 ounces. So depending on how many points you have, you could go ahead and probably do the whole thing. I may just go ahead and see how many points it is to add the whole thing. Alright guys, so I just checked the WW app for this recipe. It actually had a higher point amount for the frozen hash browns that they use in that recipe. So when I put in the great value kind, because those are so low in points, it did change the points. So here's what I did. It calls for 8 ounces of the turkey sausage of some kind. So I put in that I was using turkey kielbasa, and I put in for the 8 ounces, and of course I said 5 points. And then I had also changed the hash brown, so that's why it evened out. So I put in for, if I just use the whole package and use 13 ounces, and it stayed 5 points. So what I'm going to do, and this is for 1/6 of the casserole. Since we're going to split this over 2 nights, I'm just going to make it into 4 portions. So we'll each have 1/4 of the pan for each dinner. And when I did that, it came to 8 smart points. So 1/4 of this, using the whole 13 ounces of the kielbasa, and using the Great Value brand of the hash browns, 1/4 is going to be 8 points. If you do it into 1/6, then it is 5 points. So the next thing we're going to do is just, I cut the kielbasa into little pieces, and we're just going to put that over top. I have mixed my salt, pepper, 1 cup of milk, and 2 eggs in a bowl. And then you're going to just pour that over the top. Alright, and then we want 3/4 of a cup of the cheese. We're going to bake it in the 350 degree oven for 45 minutes or until the cheese is browned. And I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. Making blue cheese buffalo turkey meatballs. So for this recipe, we are going to need 12 ounces of cauliflower. I just used a head of cauliflower and just broke it up into smaller bite-sized pieces. And I'm going to just throw those in the bottom of my bag. And then again, I will wash the produce when I pull it out of the fridge to eat that night. And then this recipe, actually, it's ranch. It's going to be ranch cauliflower, and all that consists of is, I hate being short, all that consists of is sour cream and ranch dressing mix. So we're just going to be drizzling this over the top of the cauliflower. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put our individual amounts into 2 containers. So my husband and I will already have our portion weighed out. It is 1 ounce of sour cream in each cup, and then it's going to be half a teaspoon of the ranch dressing mix. And very carefully mix that up. I probably should have mixed it before I put them in here. And that is it for that. And this recipe doesn't have, it's just the turkey meatballs and the cauliflower, but it's only 5 smart points per serving, so you could very easily add like mashed potatoes or something with it. It calls for 12 ounces of turkey breast, and since I am using ground turkey breast and not ground turkey, I'm going to go ahead and just use the whole 16 ounces, since it's not going to change the point value. Now, I will say, we have to remember that 0 points is not 0 calories. So I am adding calories when I do this, like when I did the casserole and when I do this. So you have to be very observant that you're doing that. And just make sure that when you are, for me, it's okay, it works out because I usually only eat half of my extra weeklies. So that's exactly why. So that when I do things like this, then it all evens out. So just be mindful that if you are using all your weeklies already, you may want to be very careful about adding things like this, even though it's 0 points, because it's not 0 calories. So we're going to just go ahead and put that turkey in a bag and put that in there. And then we have our little sour cream cups. And then we are going to need 2 things of green onion. And I'm just going to put those right in there. Alright, so there is our ounce of blue cheese. I just used the crumbled blue cheese. The only other thing that it calls for is hot sauce and butter. And it's like a little over ½ an ounce of butter and then hot sauce to your liking. So I'm not going to put these in the bag. These are actually just something that you add to the meatballs after that night. So I'll just add these later. I'll just remember on the recipe that I need to get those out. There's some things that I don't put in the bag. Like some recipes call for olive oil, you know, for the pan, and I don't do that. I just do the basics and put everything in the bag. So there is our buffalo turkey meatballs, and I am super excited to try those. I have not tried those. This is actually a recipe off of homechef.com. This is one of their recipes that you can have delivered to you. As soon as the casserole comes out, I will show you what we got. I think we're done. So I'm going to clean up this mess. My kitchen, it looks destroyed. So I'm going to clean this up and I will show you what we have. All right, so we are done. This is the prep for this week. So we have our pretzels and our snacks. We have pretzels. 4 points for the pretzels and the wedge of cheese. We have 2-point yogurts. We have 2-point Premier Proteins if we need those. We have 2-point snack pack. We have our fruit bowls for 0. I have my cereal for 2 and my almond milk for 0. We have our breakfast bowls, which are 4 points each. I have our lunches for 2 mornings. I actually didn't make my wrap. I'm going to do a turkey and Laughing Cow cheese wrap one morning, but I didn't do that because I don't know how much leftovers we're going to have from our cookout tomorrow. So I'm not going to do that. I'll make that, if I need it that morning, I'll make it fresh that morning. So these are our lunches, and we are going to put some chicken breast on them tomorrow after my husband cooks those on the grill tomorrow. And then we have, look how good our casserole turned out. This is the Texas style casserole from the WW app. That looks so good. And then we have our pork tenderloin with roasted potatoes and carrots with gravy. That's 11 points. The buffalo turkey meatballs with ranch cauliflower for 5 points. And our air fryer fish and fries for 12 with tartar sauce for 3. And then again, this casserole ended up being, if you split it into 1/6, it's 5 points. If you split it into quarters, it is 8 points. So we have another week in the books. I hope everybody has an amazing week. I want to thank you all for your continued support for my channel. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Every day when I see that number go up and up and up of the new subscribers, I am just so grateful for all of you. So I appreciate your patience with me as I'm still new, and I look forward to having our friendship for a long time. So if you are new to my channel, this is your first time, I hope that you will consider hitting that subscribe button right down there. Make sure that you hit the notification bell. That way it'll notify you every time that I upload new content. And I hope to see everybody in my next video. I am Christy, and I am Planning Us Healthy.